Good afternoon, this is Jeff here at 1542 Southeast 84th Avenue here in Portland, located just to the left of the front doorway. That's as you look at the house from the street. Got a 4-inch ABS clean out, water's running. Alright, so we're going to zero out here at the base of the clean out access. Off we go. Checking the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Transitioning here to 6-inch 3034. Absolutely spotless clean flow line. Folks living here did a good job keeping their grease and cooking oil out of the line. There's the main there. We're going to go locate that, and then we'll go over some things as we come back in once the line's all drained. Alright, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Southeast 84th Avenue. Line makes its way out to the street through the front yard area. Sorry on the advance out there, I was sitting on hold. Wasn't doing a whole lot of talking. We do have some standing water at the very beginning of the line. We're going to take a look at that now that the line's drained out. Let's see what kind of water we're dealing with here. And overall, where the line ends up hitting the main lateral, the line runs relatively, it does zig and zag a little bit, but it runs relatively straight through the front yard. That locate I took in the street lines up fairly well with the clean out. And we had a Y connection that came into the ABS. We'll take a second look at that too. That, if it's right before the transition to PVC, most likely is just a test Y connection. All the 3034 there looks fantastic. Drains beautifully. All the joints are tight. And again, super, super clean line. So yeah, I think this Y comes in here right before the line dives. And as I advance out here, I don't believe we pick up any other tie-ins at the top of the sewer line. Where test 2 would be. Yeah, no other tie-ins there that are visible. So that Y connection, I'll go locate it really quickly. That just appears to be a test Y. And you'll always have, usually they're a little bit closer to the transition than that. Although, you know, if you're talking as the crow flies, from here to the transition is actually a very short run. It appears longer than that because a lot of this dives like crazy right here. So you move out of, I guess, down line about, what, 10 feet or so, but in reality you're probably only moving a straight line by maybe a few feet. So that just appears to be a test Y connection there. Alrighty, you're in the front yard area here. The other thing taken to note, this is mostly, you know, if you're concerned it's a party line. The other thing that you'll notice is that Y connection is spotless clean. Whoever's living in this house is living as clean as can be. It's very uncommon to have a line this clean. So any other home tying in, it would be very obvious, because once you go past that Y, unless you just so happen to have the two cleanest living human beings living next door to each other, once you get past this point, you would have a marked difference in buildup in the flow line. You'd at least have grease streaking or something like that. So anyway, that's all that appears to be there. You're 5 feet deep right there at that point. This thing gets down to quite a depth by the time it hits the main. It dives really hard from that point. By the time you hit the base of that drop, you're probably closer to 9 feet deep. Alright, so right here we have a belly dissipating off about 12 feet. Alright, and this is fairly close proximity to the home. So this right here is close enough into the house. This is a belly tip. You know, once you start getting out of ways from the house, that same belly there, were, let's say, 30 feet away from the home, it's not one I would recommend to fix on. And I also don't think this house had a very high occupancy living in it. Just kind of from what I can gather here, it looks like maybe 1 or 2 people. You would generally see a bit of a difference in buildup if you had a larger household in here. So the belly here begins at about 5 feet and extends out to 12 feet. So it's within my breaking point requirement. Where I start recommending repairs on these things is once you've got about a 5-foot section of pipe with 1 inch of standing water in it, static with no water running at all. And you're at that point here. I'll at least get this marked and located out here. That's when I would recommend a correction on there to help prevent buildup and a blockage. So again, you know, going back to what I was saying a moment ago, if it were 30 feet out from the house, if you could develop a blockage at that point, you have quite a lot of pipe to fill up before you even get back to the foundation wall. In doing so, that water weight that starts building up, the head pressure, often pushes blockages through, as long as the blockage is made out of proper items like like toilet paper. Paper towels are a different animal. You can get a backup from quite a distance from improper stuff. So on one like this, if you blocked up at 5, 6, 7 feet, you don't have a lot of leeway. You start filling up pipe pretty quickly, and you just don't have that same opportunity to develop head pressure to break a blockage loose. So that's my reasoning there for recommending a repair on this one. Obviously, there's 0 debris buildup in this line. It's incredibly clean, but it also looks like a house that I don't think has had a lot of people living in it, nor much activity on the sewer line. And I'm using green paint. Nice part is this is in the front yard. It's under just grass and dirt, about 3 foot 4 inches deep there. The water settle back in. Alright, the belly starts here just before you get to about the 6 foot mark. Yeah, you're closer to 5 feet than 6 feet. The start of it is pretty, tails off to a pretty small amount, but you got to get the whole thing, not part of it. Alright, I had to move my camera around a little bit. Where my camera reel was set up is right where the belly starts at. That's why the change in the foot counter happened there. About 3 feet deep at the start, about 3 foot 4 inches deep at the end of it. If you end up with a repair on that, I would highly recommend re-scoping to check the work. Very important to do that, and you want to do that rescope after the trench is closed, not beforehand, or everything you're seeing is in theory. That belly, for instance, would have looked perfect had you scoped the line with an open trench. It's not until you put weight on top of it that you'll start seeing the settling issues occur. And I just flipped the camera around. We're now going backwards into the home. And if only every human being on Earth lived this clean. This is amazing to see how clean this line is. There is just nothing in here. No grease buildup, nothing. And pretty quick here, there's the cast iron vent stack. We're going to be staring at the sky here in just a second. The light at the end of the tunnel there, looking up through the roof vent right now. So you are fully updated here end to end, other than the vent stack. Pretty nice setup. Aside from the section from 5 to about 12 feet there with the standing water in it, the rest of the line here looks great. Has good flow. All of it is intact. None of it's broken. Even the bellied area, the pipe is intact there. Anyhow, line is functioning at this time. It is draining slower than it should. Due to the belly, it's a slow drain that can lead to buildup and the potential for blockages. That's why I'm recommending the fix on it. After the belly is corrected, you'll have completely proper functionality. And that's just right here. It's just out from the cleanout. Line runs at kind of a 45-degree angle away from that cleanout, and then ends up shooting between those two trees to get out to the street.